Social media is a fuckboy. Let me explain. You know, these last couple of months, and then especially the last couple of weeks, you know, something that I'm witnessing online especially is women against each other, women hating each other, women blocking and unfriending and posting, you know, if you voted for this or if you did this, unfriend me now, block me now, I'm blocking you. And it makes me sad because it's made me realize that the media and social media is a fuckboy. And at this moment, the fuckboy is winning. The fuckboy is laughing. The fuckboy has got all his girls fighting each other instead of fighting him and taking him down and casting him aside. It has all these women that he took down different tunnels, you know, a year ago, a couple years ago, a couple months ago. And each woman came out of a different tunnel, being told different things, being told what they wanted to hear, being lied to, being swayed differently, all going down separate tunnels, not able to look out any windows, being blinded by the things that he was telling them, all the sweet nothings, all the things they want to hear. And by the time each individual woman comes out a different tunnel, they're so far away from each other, so much further away than we were just a few years ago when women empowerment was really taking off. You know, women supporting women, women supporting small businesses created by women. You know, the rising of the feminine was really, really, really taking off. And the system, aka the fuckboy, doesn't want that. The rise of the feminine is a threat to all things masculine. And before you start thinking about this in male and female as in human form, please don't. I'm specifically talking about energy. Okay, I'm talking about energetically, and this is on a broad scale. This is not individual, this is not the tunnel vision that I'm talking about. This is on a very broad scale. And when it comes to masculine energy, that's what's been running the show for so many years, you know, centuries. And the rise of the feminine was really taking off, and it's a threat to that masculine dominance that we've been living in for so long. Because when the feminine rise, there is peace. When the feminine rise, there's hope. There is unconditional love. There is nurture. There is no war. There is no extreme power based on corruption and greed. When the feminine rises, the masculine is threatened. And so as this feminine rise was happening and has been over, you know, the last 10, 15 years, with all these women coming together in groups and in tribes and in retreats and in healing circles, the dark part of the masculine is threatened. And it's like, how do we fight back? And that's what's happening now, is it's fighting back. And us fighting each other online based on what the media and social media has told us when it takes us down each individual tunnel it's that fight against true feminine power and us women coming together. Women coming together like we have been over the last, you know, decade or 2 decades, or even like, you know, ever since like the real rise of the feminine in the 60s and 70s, you know, this is a threat to that. And, you know, the overturning of Roe v. Wade falls into this, and I'll talk about that in a second. But I just want to get on here and kind of explain to people from a real outside bird's eye view perspective that the rise of the feminine was a real threat. And so how do you take it down? Well, you have us at each other's throats by any means necessary. And this is what I'm seeing online. And this is what makes me really sad, because instead of fighting with each other and saying that we hate the other side and we don't understand how this ABC could happen, we should be trying to understand. We should be connecting with each other and asking, help me understand. We should be coming together like we have been over the last 10, 15 years in these circles and in these tribal communities, and offering hands and voices to understand how we each got down whatever tunnel that the fuckboy took us down. Now, a lot of you are not gonna like this type of video because there are so many people sitting in their anger right now. Understandably, I completely understand. But we have to understand that We need to come out of our anger and our fury and our hate in some way other than misunderstanding or blocking or not willing to communicate, because that's exactly what the system wants. That's exactly what the fuckboy wants. That's what the government wants. If we're over here fighting over this one issue, we're not paying attention to everything else around us. And this is what fuckboys do, right? They feed us a bunch of bullshit and they get us to be against the other women that they're seeing, that they're fuckboying around with too. Because when we're fighting with each other, the focus is not on him. But the real is coming together and looking at each other as women and saying, what are we doing? What are we doing? This man lied to us. This man told us a bunch of bullshit. This man said A, B, and C, and he said it to you, and you. Wait a minute, and he told you this, and he told you something different? And wait, he went there? With you? With what? With who? Huh? And we need to come together and come back together where we were before and turn around to this fuckboy and say, we know what you're doing, and we're not going to take it. We're not going to take the lies. We're not going to take the corruption. We're not going to take the greed, because I see what you're doing. I see what you've done to us. You saw that we were coming together in force, in droves, in divine feminine energy, ready and willing to make change in a world that's full of war and hate and pain. You saw that we were coming for that. You saw that we were starting to see, we're becoming aware, and we're starting to get with each other. And now you want us back hating each other. And we're not going to take that. We're not going to do that because we see what you're doing. Now, again, I started to say that a lot of people will not receive this well and will still be inside that anger and pain and hurt and fury. And again, I see you, I understand you, but at some point you have to come out and open your eyes again and say, wow, like, wait a minute, I'm looking at the wrong thing, and we need to come together again and fight this, okay? And this has a lot to do with Roe v. Wade. Roe v. Wade being overturned is not okay. I don't condone it. It pisses me off just as much as everybody else. It going to the states is something that a lot of people don't like to talk about or hear about. But hear me out for a second. For the longest time, for the last 50 years or so, we've been living under this umbrella of federal protection that was Roe v. Wade. This was overturned. Blame whoever you want. You have to understand that, I hate saying this because people are going to come at me in the comments because they're going to take it wrong, but I don't care. It almost needed to be overturned so that we could see how fucked up a lot of our states still are, okay? I'm looking at you, Idaho, West Virginia, even my own home state of Utah, like, not the best when it comes to women's rights. Southern states, you know who you are, okay? But with that protection of Roe v. Wade, we were kind of living comfortably in that, right? Us women, like, our grandmothers fought so hard for these rights for us to have, and we had them, and we should be grateful for that. But we were kind of living in this comfortability of this protection, and when it was removed, we're able to see, okay? And this is what's happening right now. We are in the middle of a mass awakening, okay? We were slowly inching into it, but now we're in the thick of it, and the only way to truly see something is to take off the protections and take off the veils. And that's what happened with Roe v. Wade. I'm not condoning it. Don't come at me. I'm not condoning it. I'm just saying, in order for us to truly see in the dark, to truly see what was hiding in these states, it's still there, okay? It might seem like we're going backwards, but we're not. We are being shown things that still exist. We're being shown these things so that we can do something about it. And the thing is, we're not going to do much about it if we're constantly blocking, not expressing, not communicating, and casting aside the people that we don't understand why they see things a certain way, why they vote a certain way, why they make choices the way that they make. If we disconnect from that, if we block people from that, if we don't open our hands to have discussions like women should be doing, opening that unconditional loving hand, opening that nurturing heart, if we don't reach out and do our best to try to communicate, change won't be made. It just won't. We have to understand that the system started recognizing that women were coming together in tenfold, and the rise of this feminine energy was getting stronger. And the only way to take that down is to take us down. And how do you take it down? Take away our rights, get us pissed off, get us into a situation where we are angry at other women that we were normally sitting in circle with and starting to fight so that we can't rise up, so that we go back right to where we were before, where we were just trying to rise up, you know, a century ago. But now, instead of being on the same team, we're completely against each other. And so that is what is going to set us back if we don't reconnect with each other and continue to block each other out. Now, part of the rising of this divine feminine was all of the healing that we've been doing, right? I don't know about you as a woman, but I personally have over the last 10 years been doing my own individual healing, okay? I did a lot of shadow work, I did a lot of heavy work. And, you know, in order to do that kind of healing, you have to dig deep. You have to unveil what you've been hiding. You have to unveil what was in your darkness, what was in your shadow. Okay? We've been doing that, right? And we came together as women to do that as well, to help each other, to guide each other through this individual healing that is very challenging. It's very ugly. It's not easy. It can be incredibly traumatizing and confusing and frustrating and causes a lot of emotion. Well, guess what? This is what's happening as a collective right now. So if we know how that feels when we're doing individual healing, imagine how it's feeling as a collective. And that is what's happening right now. These veils are being lifted. We're diving into the shadows. We're diving into the dark. We're being shown what has been hidden all this time that we kind of just forgot about because it was hidden under this umbrella of federal protection, which we should be ever so grateful for. But now that's gone so that we can see. So we can see how messed up and so behind some of these states and these laws really are, so that we can make change where the change needs to be made. Fighting over the president up here, it's like, yeah, you can do that if you want, but you're going to be missing the point when you are not voting correctly or paying attention to where your money is going to really, really, really help make change in the state that you live that might not be so great for women right now. So this video is a plea to the women out there who are angry and who are spewing like hate to the other side or to these other women because you don't understand why they made the choice they made. I'm pleading to you to try to understand, to maybe reach out and ask questions. Say, help me understand how you got here. Help me understand the tunnel that you went down. Help me understand what FukBoy told you, because I know what he told me. Because this is what social media is. It takes us down tunnels. It takes us down algorithms that feed us what we want to be fed. What it's getting to know us so well that it knows exactly where to pull us, exactly where to take us, exactly what to say to us, so that when we come out the other side as needed, we are not on the same page as everybody else, because there were no windows. The only light was at the very end of the tunnel, and that tunnel keeps getting smaller and smaller and smaller to give us tunnel vision. And so it makes it so we can't see what others see. That's the whole point. But if we purposely block people out, cut them out, and you know, unfriend them and not have communication, then we are stuck in that tunnel. We are not out of it. You are in that tunnel. You need to start paying attention and asking. Pay attention to what's going on in your state, in your community, in your county, in your hometown, with your neighbors, with your friends, and having conversations. The whole point isn't to stay in the tunnel. It's to break up all the tunnels. It's to break free of the tunnels. And I'm telling you, social media and regular media are taking us down these tunnels to make it so we don't break the system when we need to the most. And I'm telling you, we as women have so much power, and the power that we have when we come together as a collective, no matter where our starting points were, no matter our belief systems, when we come together and we break those barriers and we cross those lines and we rise with the energy that we have, it's so powerful, and it is a threat to the masculine system that we have been living in for so long. And we're seeing that now again, because it's pushing us back into this masculine place where women are second class, women don't have rights. Pretty soon we won't have a voice, and that terrifies me. And so to me, we have to understand the way this fuckboy took us down this tunnel and how we can come back together to instead of being angry at one another and hating one another. And think about that, sitting in anger and hate and aggression and all these things, that's not feminine, that's masculine. So it's pulling you right back in. And we need to break that barrier. We need to have hard conversations. We need to reach across the line. We need to open our hearts and really share love across, so many barriers, which we were doing for so long. We were going on like, world retreats and into different states and meeting people from all walks of life. And now the system is trying to tear us apart because it sees us as a threat. Now, personally, from where I'm sitting, I have faith that things will balance out. And whether, Roe v. Wade is overturned again, or, another line of laws goes into place that protects women and LGBTQ, etc., I have faith that that's going to happen. And unfortunately, as hard as it is, we have to have a little bit of patience with it, because we have to go through this really hard part of healing to be able to really prevail, and to not just have an umbrella that hides everything, to really make change where it matters. And where it matters right now is state by state by state. And again, a lot of people don't like to hear that, but it's true. So, but we can't do that if we're fighting one another. We can't do that if we're blocking each other. If we can't do that if we're misunderstanding each other. We have to counteract that with curiosity and non-judgment, and ask questions. How did you get here? How did you get from here to here? Like, what tunnel did you go down? What FukBoy were you listening to? Because I was listening to this one. Because we're not being fed the same information. I hate people. I know people like logically know that, but I don't think they really quite understand how tunneled we get. We all get into these tunnels, and if we don't pay attention, we don't even realize we're in it anymore, because we can't see out. We're only focused on the FukBoy, because he's telling us everything we want to hear. By the time we come out of it, we're so strong in our belief systems, because this is all we've known with this algorithm, with this tunnel. And in order to beat that, we have to come together and have a conversation. What did he tell you? What did they tell you? What were you listening to? What were you seeing? How did you get here? Help me understand the decision that you just made, because I don't understand it. It's not block because I don't understand. It's help me understand because I don't understand. And we as women, we can really come together and make change. It's happened before, it can happen again. And I think we just have to go through it again, because, our grandmothers really, paved that way and got us into a position where we felt safe. And now this feeling of unsafety, it should be leverage of activation. And instead of being in fear, we should be activated. Instead of being blocking and unfriending, we should be communicating, so we can figure out how to get back to where we were and better. Not just back to where we were, but better. How can we get these states to these backwoods Bob states to understand that these rights of women and other repressed communities, it's not okay to treat them like this. How do we do that? And we do that by talking to each other, showing up at city council meetings, voting, paying attention to where your money is going. This is the most important one. Look in the states and see where your money, when you're paying, going to different stores and paying for things online, and pay attention to what churches are around you. I hate to say it, but most of these states that have these kind of issues, there's some kind of church involved. You got to figure out who's really running the show. And for the longest time, we weren't able to see that because of this federal protection. And now we're able to really, really see. And as uncomfortable it is, as hard as it is, as fearful as it is, it's a vision now. We're able to be so aware. And that is the first step to real healing, is being completely aware of what's going on and how we can make change. I'm telling you, any woman who's been in a situation with a FukBoy, you know who you are. You know the best revenge is not to fight with the woman. It's to come together with the woman and look at the FukBoy and say, bye, you're done. We're not doing this anymore. Okay, I just tripped. We're done. And that is the best way. It's women coming together and saying goodbye to the FukBoy. Women coming together and crushing the system that has been repressing us for so long. And even though we've had that protection, which again, we should be so grateful for, we are now recognizing that there's still work to do. There's still a lot of work to do, because in all of these places, there are a lot of women who are going to be suffering if we don't pay attention to what's really going on in those states. And yes, the president matters. And right now, continue to be angry, be in your feelings, make sure you move through them. But I'm just hoping that anybody who sees this can, first of all, understand what I'm saying, because I'm throwing a lot of metaphors out there, but also just hoping that we can really come together to really take down this machine and this system that is the corruption. There's so much corruption still in our states and in our government. And we need to be able to understand what they are and see what they are so that we can figure out a way to truly make change for the better and continue the rise of the feminine, because we were getting somewhere and we're going to continue to get somewhere, but we can't do it if we're blocking each other, and we can't do it if we're out there hating each other and spreading hate online and in our communities and not speaking with one another when we go to meetings. Like, we really, really, really need to be there for each other in one of the hardest times in our lives. So please take this into consideration. I know this video is long, as all my videos are, but I'm just hoping that people can start to see through the fuckboy nonsense, because I've been seeing it the last couple of weeks, and you know, it just makes me sad, because I'm like, no, please don't fall into this. Please don't fall into this hateful trap, because it's not the way. I'm sending you guys so much love. I'm telling you, let's come together in this really difficult time. Please communicate. Please reach out. I'm gonna understand if I don't get the comments, the positive comments in my comment section. I completely understand. I see you. This is a really fucking hard time. But I really hope at the end of the day we can come together. I send you guys so much love, so much sunshine, which I know a lot of people don't have in the winter, but I do right now, and I'm soaking it up. So I love you guys so much. Please stay in touch. Please don't block. And I send you all the love in the world.